Dela writes, my MVVs, welcome. So report came back that, the Jewel, Dr.Sapphire and Adetutu, had their Pre-Ofarende, party with the Great Lion in the Royal Mansion in Lagos. And that it was a very quiet one. As a matter of fact, they said the Great Lion sisters were there. They said they called about 5 people that were there outside the Great Lion. So everybody that was there for that event, there were about 13 people that were there for that event. And they hosted it. It was sweet. It was smooth. And so basically that day that the Great Lion left in preparation for that party. And when that information got to the palace, it did not land on the ground before there was a very serious uprising. Like, the wives were disappointed, especially Gospel, who had spent her time, her resources, and everything to organize the Pre-Ofarende party that happened in the palace. Now, they say Gospel cried as if she lost somebody. Ebony cried, Ikpe cried, and more so, they said, oh, Jesus Christ. They attacked Bloblo, in fact, Bloblo, they say Bloblo knew about it and Bloblo did not say anything to anybody. As in, they ignored the one that happened in the palace. They went to Lagos, they had their small party. Honestly. And from what we are hearing, they said high tension had been building for weeks. Nobody expected the kind of uprising that would erupt the moment word leaked from Lagos inside the royal mansion, far away from the praying eyes of the palace informant and suspicious elders. Dr. Sapphire, Adetutu, and the Jewel gathered, quietly, choosing peace over chaos and choosing each other over the pressure that had been mounting around the upcoming Ofarende season. The atmosphere in the mansion was different from the usual heaviness of the palace politics. It felt more like home, a place where the Jewel could breathe freely without looking over her shoulder, where Dr. Sapphire could move around without being monitored, and where Adetutu could handle the spiritual matters without the usual interference from those who pretended to support her while working against the Jewel. Now, they say the Pre-Ofarende celebration they organized there was not something planned out of rebellion or disrespect. It was born out of exhaustion and distrust. Too many times, the palace had pretended to honor the Jewel while stabbing her spiritually and emotionally through those small, subtle acts that only the women understood. Too many times, they had shown up with smiles, hiding resentment. So when the elders and wives insisted that the Jewel must attend the palace's own Pre-Ofarende gathering, she simply refused. She could not, force herself into a space where she did not feel safe. She could not pretend that everything was fine just because tradition demanded, that they make peace. And Kabiesi, of course, understood it more than anyone, so it did not happen. At the Lagos mansion, the 3 women took their time, Adetutu still carrying the spiritual burden of representing the Jewel in all matters, moved around with calm purpose. Dr. Sapphire, who had become the Jewel's quiet shield, made sure the energy of the environment was clean and peaceful. And the Jewel herself finally relaxed, sitting down without the pressure of eyes judging her every moment for the, in fact, for so many weeks, like, it's been back and forth. Even with the Great Lion has not had peace. The whole of last week, they had, back and forth, Ogunjaye this, stolen artifacts, stolen assay, stolen this, stolen that. It was so much even for the Great Lion. So this moment with, these women, happens to be a moment where the great lion had to, rewind or, got his groove back, right? And so it was not something, they said it wasn't even planned. Like the way they are taking it now in the palace, they are making it look as if these women just left and went to go and organize their own. But what we are hearing is that this event that happened in the royal mansion, they was not planned. They had gone there, according to what we heard, that they had gone there because of the Ofarende, uniform, okay? And when they got there, because the atmosphere, being that the great lion was there and all of that, they just had that thing that looked like a mini party, and they did their thing there, and information got to the palace that they, had their Ofarende party, and it did not go. Like, Oloris were very, very sad. Now, according to the jewel, she said for the first time in weeks, she felt like a human being again, and not a symbol everyone wanted to manipulate for their own gain. The celebration was simple. There were no loud drums, no crowd trying to prove loyalty, no forced greeting. It was small, real, and quiet. They prayed, they reflected, they talked about healing. They prepared their spirit for Ofarende in a way that felt honest, pure, and safe. But while they were, building peace in Lagos, the palace was shaking. News reached Ile-Ife that the jewel had not only refused the palace Pre-Ofarende gathering, but had chosen to host her own with her inner circle. By the time the message spread among the wives, everybody became curious. Everywhere became chaotic, right? Some of them were furious, asking how a woman who did not live in the palace could host a Pre-Ofarende gathering outside the royal compound. Others were threatened, especially those who had been pushing to control the narrative around the ritual. They believed that tradition were being broken, and that the jewel was trying to gather her own faction to undermine their influence. Whispering, turned to shouting turned to finger pointing. Before long, the elders were called in an emergency meeting where, they started asking why the great lion will allow such faction among his wives. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Delaram. I bring you fresh and spicy gist from the sources still on the royals. How are you guys doing? Delarites, my own people. Delarites, my super people. Esheo, adukbeo. So at this point, they said, the elders who have already gone through so much trying to effect peace in the palace, with the drama with Ogunjaye, with the drama with all the spies and everything, the elders now began to ask, why is the great lion allowing such faction among his wives? And the great lion said, as you make your bed, so you lie on it, that the jewel has a right not to trust them because of the things that have happened in the past, and nobody has a right to force the jewel to trust them, to sit with them, to dine with them, to marry with them. That he's saying what he has been saying, that the jewel needs time to heal, that even him as the husband of the jewel, he knows what he's gone through with the jewel to get the jewel from where she was to where she is right now. That the jewel is a very careful person, and the jewel is not somebody who is scattered. The jewel is somebody who needs to heal. That they cannot be forcing themselves. That when gospel said the jewel was coming, he believed the jewel was coming, and that was why he stayed back. But when he saw that the jewel did not come, that was when he left. And for anybody to say he's encouraging faction, people go where they think they are loved. People go where they think they are accepted. You cannot force people to be in a relationship with you. That the jewel is not comfortable with them is not something that should sound strange to anybody. It's because of the things that the jewel has gone through. And that is not an issue that he wanted to talk about. That was how the great lion ended everything. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.